But let me just show you the front page news of BBC. The main thing is obviously the match. It's going to dominate all the pages. And they were showing a lot of the Scottish coming down through by train from Scotland, and just going crazy, and they're singing all their songs because there's a big rivalry and big history behind England versus Scotland. One of the famous goals which Paul Gascoigne scored against the Scots, which has been playing for the past few days, just to rub it into the Scots' faces. But it's going to be a tight game. What do you guys think? The guys, everyone, who do you think will win this one? Mostly, what do you think?
The one now,
Yeah, yeah,
inshallah, England.
England's in that bad. What do you think, Atir?
I think England have got it easy.
What are you going for a scoreline?
Um, like 2-3-1, 2 or 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah,
Okay,
3-1. Let's go with 3-1.
okay. If we weren't Muslims, then I'm sure we'd be
Yeah,
doing
we'll put it back
the
down.
paddy power. Yeah,
Odds.
I reckon it's going to be a tight game. I think 2-0 to England, but it's not going to be easy. But our defense is good, so I'm not worried about conceding. So yeah, more things about Euros, and I'm not too sure what this is because I haven't had time to really read into it. But I'll just read it from it. The Daily Star takes a unique angle ahead of the England versus Scotland game. It reports that TV illusionist Yuri Geller says he will be using his powers to drive Scotland to a miracle victory tonight. The paper suggested wearing tin foil hats to repel Geller's powers, but the mystic says the paper's plan is destined to fail. Okay, so that's interesting. Um, Football's coming home. Not too sure that that's talking about. But let's read what it says. So the Sun suggests Wally the walrus, an Arctic walrus who was spotted in Wales and Cornwall before heading to France earlier this year, is now back in the UK's shores, just in time for the England's Crunch Euros crash with Scotland later. The paper says he has recently been basking in France and Spain, but his return to the Isles of Sicily is a good omen for England fans. Okay, so every year there's always one animal which they select to choose between who's going to win the Euros. Sometimes I think in the World Cup it was an octopus, and they have other animals as well. But it's good. This seems like for England, Mr. Walrus, what's his name? Wally the Walrus, is showing us that we're gonna win the Euros. Inshallah, it's gonna be hard. Um, this is also really important. The Daily Mirror leads with the first of three reports from the inquiry into the Manchester Arena bombing, which was released on Thursday. The paper highlights the reaction of some sort of bereaved families who say their loved ones were failed because of the catalogue of inexcusable errors. So I think it was a few years ago, the bombings which happened in the Manchester Arena. Um, I think Ariana Grande was performing there, and one of the terrorist bombers who let off a bomber jacket, and attached to it were loads of bolts. So when it exploded, it hit a lot of people, and a lot of people died in that. But now, recently, the reports came out. So from that report, obviously, the people who lost their loved ones, they weren't happy with it at all because a lot of it could have been avoided. So there were just a few of the. This is what I was talking about with the fans coming in. As you know, with the Scots, they have their famous, the skirts which they have and the bagpipes which they play. So they all come with that. So it's good for the country as well. It's good for Britain, even though there's a lot of political tension. But a lot of that's been taken out through sports, so that's also good. And all other just random bits of news here and there. This one looks interesting. Iran election frontrunners are polled apart, so something happening in Iran with the elections. Um, so that's also good. So yeah, a lot of happening. Also with the vaccine, that's also really important. We need to look into that. I just wanted to pull one of the news items up. Qasim was telling me about it. Um, just give me a sec. It's to do with I just want to spark a small debate with everyone. So let me just pull up a piece of item first, and then we can just talk about it quickly. It's basically to do with um, homosexuals fighting for their rights to give blood. And in the UK recently, they've um, passed it so that people can actually give blood. But in a lot of the other countries, um, they aren't allowed to. So let's just read a small article. I'll just briefly go through it. Don't want to spend too much time on it, but just want to get everyone's opinion. So blood donation rule change means more gay and bisexual men can give blood. So just reading it from the top, blood donation rules for gay and bisexual men are being relaxed across the UK in what the government is calling a landmark change. The new criteria focuses on individual behaviors, lifting a blanket ban for any men who have had sexual intercourse with men in the last 3 months. So basically, before this, a lot of people were saying that it shouldn't happen because if you take the blood of someone who's homosexual, then you may be more prone to catching AIDS or HIV or any other disease. So, I want to ask you guys: do you think this is right? Do you think it's right for homosexuals to give blood? And you know, is it right? Yeah, let me just ask you that first. We'll start from there. Obviously, because the trend of homosexuality is trending a lot, so
Yeah.
that's why it's probably made that into a big thing. But what I would say, medically speaking, I know that for anyone who gives blood, they always check the blood before it gets approved. So it's not like you give blood and straight away they're going to
That's
put it into
right.
someone. They're going to always check it to see if it's pure, and then they will give it to someone. And even then, when you do give blood, no one asks where it's come from or who it came from. So there is that side of it as well. Um,
That is true.
yeah, there's also it's also interesting. Like I always thought, like they've even proven from organ donations as well, even through organ donations, the hormones of the previous person sometimes gets transferred as well. And what's transferring that throughout the body is the blood.
Yeah.
So too with the with homosexuality. What if those those feelings and emotions also gets transmitted into someone? It's an interesting point, and you know, is it right? That's the question. And what everyone's writing on social media now is that can we at least be told who the blood is come from? You know, is it and so that we can make a choice whether we want it or not. But the only downside is that there's so much shortage of blood.
Yeah.
Obviously, the people who are in need of blood are in an emergency situation, sometimes life and death. So, would they care where it's come from if it's going to save their life?
That's a
That's
good point.
So yeah, obviously people want to give blood because they want to save people, and it's a good thing to do. And why should they be categorized as a separate people just because of their belief or whatever their actions are? It's interesting.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Rabisa, what's the Islamic view on homosexuals? Like, how should we treat them?
Yes, obviously it's a side topic of how they should be treated. They shouldn't be treated in any other way, any different way, because it's just their beliefs. I mean, it's just like anyone else, really. All your friends are going to have different beliefs, aren't they? And whatever they do in their private time, that's up to them. Everyone does different things, but as in the ways of behaving with them, you can't you persecute anyone for their beliefs, and that's the fundamental rule. But saying that, it doesn't mean that you have to make them purposely just because they're different belief to yourself to make them your best friends or always be close to them, because at the end of the day, um, whoever you partake your company with, they're going to have an effect on you, whether you have an effect on them or they have an effect on you. So you always have to be balanced with your friendships, but in terms of your morals, they always have to be of the highest excellence, and you have to treat everyone correctly. And just like Umar just wrote in the messages, comments, love for or hatred for none. It's not no one should be cancelled out or selected specifically to go against. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But
And do you want me to give other pieces of news? I'll try my best to remember as much of it as I can.
you can if you can remember anything.
All right.
You-
So I'll try my best. So first of all, the COVID update. 20 million people have had their second doses, which is up from 10 million last week. So quite a lot of people were vaccinated this week. A bit of concerning news though. I believe the new cases have reached 50,000 or more. So there's a lot more new cases suddenly arriving due to the new variants. So I do urge everyone to wear masks and keep themselves safe. A bit of UK news. The lockdown has been extended to July, 19 July, I believe. So they're increasing lockdown. But after that, more news has yet to be told. Uh, for the coming allegations, also there was a comment about how the simple text doesn't necessarily prove the how the president, how the prime minister treats coming, and it's not enough evidence to prove anything. More on the news about UK, there has been a reveal that UK is not prepared for extreme weather and tsunamis. So as you all notice, climate change has the global warming is rising, and as this year especially, we have cases, and especially in Pakistan, where temperature is 40 degrees or more, and even 40 and potentially reaching 50 as well. And even in other countries, specifically America, the temperatures have reached 50 degrees Celsius. So global warming is definitely happening, and UK are not really prepared for thunderstorms and floods. More on weather news, there's actually a tornado happening in America as well, which has been destroying farmlands. A bit of scientific news. A new dinosaur skeleton was discovered in Australia, and it is believed to be about 30 meters long, which is really large. So about 30 meters is about the size of a basketball court. So the finding suggests that this may be the biggest dinosaur. Uh, More on another scientific news. China has launched their rocket Shenzhou 12 into space, and it'll be a 3-month mission where astronauts are gonna collect data and then come back. Uh, Also, as always, as usual, we had the discussion about the homosexual giving rights. A bit of informative news. If you might be wondering, a lot of people have been sneezing a lot lately, and that's because due to hay fever. It is common trend that in summer, grass hay fever is quite common in during the summer. So which is causing a lot of hay fever to sprout between people, and they've been sneezing a lot. Uh, in terms of all right. Another thing I forgot to mention, in Warsaw there has been an opening of Humanity First food bank collection. So volunteers are needed to help the Humanity First run their shop. Currently, they have supported well over 100 families in just over a week. So it's a really successful, and they always need more food bank. So members are requested to at least donate one food item per month to help support the shop. And also, if possible, you can come visit them and also volunteer for the jobs. They vary from running the shop and potential deliveries as well. I'm not sure about the financial department, whether the financial, but it's better if you contact the relevant people. You can contact my general secretary for more guidance. I believe that's about it. Jazakallah for listening. I know it's not the usual PowerPoint, and it's a bit off, so I do apologize for this.
No, Jazakallah Qasim was really good. Just on top